Hi, welcome to my book haul for the 26th of November 2021. Variety of different books. This one, The Jewish Brigade. Now this is a review copy. Just received it from Dead Reckoning. Dead Reckoning in the States. I love these books. Absolutely brilliant ones. And they're all generally obviously war. And this one's about the waning of World War II. Now I'm looking forward to do a review of it. And I will be very shortly. But all the books from Dead Reckoning have been excellent. This one is French. Originally was in French. And it's been translated into English, and really superb artwork all the way through. So just going to go through and do a review fairly shortly on that. Patricia Hi Smith. I love Patricia Hi Smith's works. Got quite a few of the books. And this one, her diaries. Now, I must admit, when I was ordering this before, I was a bit confused. I ordered initially the American copy, because on the Amazon website there was the American copy. Oh, I'll order that. It didn't say it was an American copy. I got the British copy in the end. I assume this is the British copy. This is Hidaris and Notebooks. And wow, this is a huge chunky book. 900 plus pages. Really full, very detailed. Lots and lots of diaries all the way through. So you've got a diary entry there, diary entry. Now, this is like the second. Now, always it's of course done in the American system. So 27th of February 1950. And then you've got here March the 11th, so obviously some gaps. Now I assume that there were some diary entries. Not everything has been included, but it's just been fascinating just reading through these. Just absolutely smooth. Like in Rome, London, New York, etc. Just really captures that sort of that time, all the writing, sort of brilliant. And also it's got some notebooks as well, which is really good. And this is one that you can dip into. That's the thing for me. Now there's no pictures. So if you're coming to it thinking there's going to be some photos, I was quite surprised that you think they normally put, 16 pages of pictures or something, but nothing, absolutely nothing. And often, but of course there is an index at the back, which is always useful, but it's still, some pictures would have been nice, but what a great book. I've thoroughly enjoyed reading so far. So I'm really looking forward to continue reading through that. That is going to take many months to get through. Now this one's an unusual one. When I first saw it listed, I thought, I'm not really certain that I'm going to be interested in this, but wow. I mean, I read this earlier but I thought, well, I must get a copy myself. And How to Read Nancy, The Elements of Comic in 3 Easy Panels. And it's just a superb book, and this by Paul Karasik and Mark Newgarden. Doesn't seem much on the surface. You think, oh, it's a bit unusual. Because look, what you've got here, you go in various pages and you've got some empty panels. And it's just like empty panels. You think, what? Very odd way to do it. But it just shows different elements and talks about various things, the context there for the leaky spigot, the hose, and breaks down the whole thing. Wow. I mean, really, what a way of doing it, and just describes it, going through it relentlessly in detail. Absolutely fascinating. Really, really amazing book. Now, this, obviously, you can see it's a paperback or softback, I suppose is the best way to describe it, or flexi-bound. I'm not certain. That sort of format. But not only has it got the Nancy there, and I love Nancy's the cartoons, Sluggo, etc. They were brilliant. Grew up reading those, thoroughly enjoyed them. Unfortunately, you can find copies of them, but not so easy to find nowadays. But also it's got a lot of historical interest as well. So it's got lots of examples of other various works as well, not just Nancy and Sluggo. And you've also got some original pages there, which is good. Just shows some lovely examples there. Unfinished business, as it said. Obviously not finished off. And then you've got some absolutely lovely ones there. I mean, just look at that beautiful, crisp imagery there. Just glorious. They are unusual. I wouldn't say that I roll about the floor laughing. Maybe people did. I don't know. But they still are fascinating to look through and read. They are good. They are very good. Still enjoyable even now. And you've got here, even got a lovely picture at the back. I think that's just glorious. But I will be doing a review of that. But this is just an amazing book. So if you can find a copy, I would really recommend. Because, of course, there's lots of books of instructions about comic books, how to understand comics, reading comics, the making of comics and those sort of things. But I think this book is definitely up there. This is just a masterpiece. Unusual. And I was saying, like I say, initial look, I thought, not certain I'm going to be interested. But I started reading it. I thought, wow, I must get a copy of this. And, well, I have got a copy, so looking forward to read it even more thoroughly. I definitely will be studying that for many years, I'm certain. Now this one is excellent. This is the Big Book of Pulps, and I love this. I had this before. Unfortunately, I got rid of it. Don't know why. I moved house, and it was one of those things that, of course, when you move house, I purged a load of books, and then I regretted it because this is a great book. This is Otto Penzler, and I've got another one as well of Otto Penzler as well. So this one has just got page after page, and you've got here like City of Hell. You can't beat a title like that. The City of Hell. And you just got other one. Let's just go for a few of them. Chicago Confetti. Another one again. So you've got lots of lovely examples there, and you've also got a nice little biography as well, which I think is just great. I love biographies of, like here, Richard Sale. And again, another one. At the front, it's got all the details there. So you've got all the various things. There's quite a lot. This has got also a lot of pages. This is 1,100. Well, it's probably even more than that. 1,036 odd pages. And you've even got some comic book in it as well, which is very unusual, isn't it? To have Sally the Sleuth, no less. So a bit of comic book art in there as well. And also many art. And there's also at the back, of course, it's got... I'm not certain why they couldn't have put that at the front. It would have been much nicer in many ways instead of putting it back, obviously, with copyright information. But it does give you also the details of when it was actually released, all the various details there. The Perfect Crime. Apparently, you'll die laughing. Hopefully. Anyway, maybe not. November 1940. So that was apparently. So Black Mask magazine. Now, the Tom Patterson Collection. Yet another brilliant book from Treasury of British Comics, Rebellion. I love their books. They're absolutely amazing. Now, recently, quite a few of them have been softback or paperback ones. This one is hardback. I love hardback. I must admit, I prefer hardback any day. And it's from Buster, Whoopee, Jackpot, Wizard and Chips, Oink. I must admit, Oink was not one that I actually recall. However, it's got lots of details there. And it does go through a load of examples here. And you've got here Buster, loved Buster magazine, comic. And you've got Buster again. And it does show the date, which is really, really good. Because sometimes with these ones where you get these, and this one is 1987. So they're not all, this is 1990, Captain Crucial. So you've got Captain Crucial there. And you've got, let's go for another one. Oh, School Bell, 1984. And that's probably one reason many of these I'm not so familiar with. I was still reading the occasional Buster, etc., those sort of comics, Jackpot, but not as frequently back when 1979. So, but there's still Scooper and those ones, still familiar with those, some of those characters. But there's many in here I've never read before. So it's really Wizard and Chips. I loved Wizard and Chips. You've got Wizard and Chips there, Captain. Robert's Robot as well, and that one is from 1983. So you've got loads and loads of brilliant. Now some are in colour, as you can see, some are in colour there, some are in black and white. Actually, in many ways, I prefer the ones in black and white. I have to say the black and white. The colour ones often sort of slightly ruins it for me, I must admit. You've got here 1986, and you can see a sort of not so sharp. But when you get the black and white ones, I think the black and white ones, the inking just makes it so much clearer. And I have no problem with being in black and white. So it's just a preference. Maybe some people might like the thing, but I think this is just absolutely brilliant. And you've got, of course, a few other bonus items at the back. I'll be doing a review of this once I've actually read through all of the stories. I'm looking forward to it. They're just weird, wonderful, really crazy fun sort of thing. Sometimes you think, would they do this now? I suspect not. And it never looks the same when they've been... I know there's some... this sort of thing has just come out in a recent one, and it's... I'm not so certain I like it as much as the ones back in the 1980s, 1970s, etc. Now, this one's Horn to Fear. This is a paperback version. I didn't get the hardback one. I wish I had, but the hardback ones are so expensive now that I thought, well, might as well get the paperback. I've got quite a lot of the Russ Cochran ones, but unfortunately I haven't got any of the horror ones because they're so expensive. I've never bought them. So this is a great way of picking them up. Of course, there's the Fantagraphic series, but the Fantagraphic ones are great, but they do it by the artist. So you end up like a Wally Wood or whatever. And it's okay, but it does mean you've got massive gaps with the stories. So you think, oh, be nice to get the whole lot. And you've got obviously on the back. I love the way they do the covers there. And this is from Dark Horse. Brilliant stories. I love the stories. I've read them many times, so it's just, but it's great to actually finally have them in this sort of like nice format. However, I do think sometimes some of these do look a bit rough at times. I'm not certain, but it's just maybe in some ways I actually prefer the black and white ones, as mentioned with the Tom Patterson. So when I look at the colouring is fine. If you like the sort of the modern colouring, but in many ways I wish they would bring out a version which is just from the original comics and actually just scanned in, like some of the Chilling Terror archives or something like that, those sort of things, or the PS Art World ones, because they're just I don't know, there's something about them, the inking, and we'll bring them out in black and white personally. I mean, I would be just as happy if it was black and white as in colour. So, but it's just, to me, there's times when the artwork is just a bit rough. I don't know, I can't put my finger on it, to be honest. It just doesn't. But I mean, sometimes you get really beautifully sharp, and you got like an example here. I mean, this is really, really good. But some of the inking sort of doesn't really work for me at times, and it just sort of. Again, you've got this one here, another one there. That looks great. And you've got, of course, got an introduction. You've also got various others. And of course, at the back, you've got the good old, now I will be getting those ones, the crime illustrated as well as terror illustrated. Though I have, of course, got the Russ Cochran versions of those, but I still will be getting those because I think they're just some of the best. I love those illustrated books. I think it's just a pity they only produced 2 or 3 copies. That was it. And you think, missed opportunity. Could have produced hundreds of those, been brilliant. But however, wasn't to be. So you've got Tales of the Crypt and many others. Obviously got another list at the back there of all the various ones. Panic, Saddle Justice, etc. I love the obviously picture there. Sometimes they don't always work, and that's the trouble actually. I think sometimes I wish they would actually put maybe something else. Maybe a bigger picture of like one that's coming out or something. Or black and white or something again. But look at that. I mean, it's just a bit rough. The artwork, you can see the pixelation. I mean, it's just, I don't know why. Why would you do it? Unless you've got real high quality, sort of, so you can really see it super sharp. I don't think you should blow it up so much. It's just, is it this? And this, another example here. Look at that. I mean, you can hardly make that out. It's just like a mass of ink. Well, I mean, it might be brilliant. Obviously, I'm certain the pencil work was absolutely superb. I would have loved to have seen the pencil work, the original pencil work. But anyway, minor criticisms. The work is brilliant, of course. Always, Horns of Fear is always just an absolute masterpiece. And yeah. And also when you look through it, you can see like Wally Wood and those sort of things. You think, oh, is that Wally Wood? I have to look back. Because his style, you could see some of it and you think, I'm a mega fan of Christmas books. And this one, Archie, 80 Years of Christmas. What can you do? Have to get that sort of thing. There's quite a few other Archie Christmas ones and various related books. And, well, this one is great as always. It's only about 260 pages, but still full of lots of fairly up-to-date ones. Not so keen always on the up-to-date ones. I must admit, I loved more the 70s, 60s, that sort of period. But still, it is very good. Just a lovely. You can see it's this very small digest one. They always bring them out. I would love to see them bring out a proper sized book. It'd be brilliant if they, maybe if the like the original artwork, if they've still got all the original artwork, maybe in black and white even. But it's just sometimes it does get you. But still, I don't mind the digest format. It's just a format they seem to go with. But I must admit, when it comes out and it's a bigger version, it's always. But you've got some lovely little stories here all the way through. Like I say, to the 90s. There's more 90s, more 80s than really the 70s and 60s. But you got here to the 70s there. And then you got through to the, now this one's 1970s still. I just love the artwork of that period. 1970s, 1960s. And then all the way through. And then you get to a little bit, not very much. And I don't know why, because I would have thought they would have done loads of stories in the 1950s. But you've got 1950s as well. And then all the way back to the 1940s. 1940s ones always look very weird. And this one is, I think, from the, it's got the first issue there. Archie issue 1. This is winter 1942. And I think that's been reprinted quite a few times before. Still, just lovely, all the same. And then you've got Archie's graphic novels checklist at the back there. Afterlife with Archie, Vampironica, they've gone all over the place now with these. However, 80 years, thoroughly enjoyable. And any time it comes up to, well, December time, I end up getting a load of my old Christmas comic books out and just start reading them all again. Thoroughly enjoyable. Now, I've got a Beatles one here. Now, I've done reviews on some of these already this week. So this one I love. the Beatles files. And this was just beautiful. Lots and lots of brilliant pictures all the way through of the Beatles. And it's just page after page and page of obviously like help. Now, of course, I'm watching the current documentary on the Disney Channel, Disney Plus, I should say. Absolutely superb so far what I've seen. Obviously, I've only seen the first episode. And so just great. Absolutely, really super sharp imagery. The sound quality is great. Just love all the conversations, all the songs they put in it as well. Just brilliant. Absolutely first rate. I haven't seen that, the original film, the Let It Be film, for years. I haven't got it. I haven't got a copy of it. So it's really nice to actually find. Got, of course, the CDs that just recently come out. So they're brilliant. I love those. But here's also another Beatles book. Not so good. It's okay. This one, A Beatles A Celebration. It's got lots of pictures that I've seen before, many examples, but some are still of interest. I love that one. Got there, obviously, the high school in Liverpool. Lovely little picture there. Actually, I don't think I've ever seen that picture. And also, of course, you've got the old standard pictures of the Beatles there, the cavern. There's many of these, but I love these sort of things. I'm always surprised they've never brought out a book of sort of like the Record Mirror or New Musical Express, etc. All those sort of newspapers, and done Beatles ones, all of them, like 250 pages or something, of all the various. Well, that would be brilliant. The National Insider there. And then you've got all the studio years. You've got lots of fine examples here. The Beatles Help, I'm Down. Obviously, picture cover there from the US. And other. Lots and lots of examples. And even things like the Bag of Nails in London where Paul McCartney, Linda Eastman really met, it says there. So, just great. Absolutely nice book. But still, many pictures I'm familiar with. And also some that I say, it's slightly... Actually, I've never seen that one, actually. That one. Stuart Sutcliffe. Wow. An abstract there. And you got again Beatles fan club. I don't think I've even seen that one. Happy Christmas 1969. Wow, that looks very nice. So there's some still interesting examples all the way through. And I got this in the charity shop. So it was along with the other Beatles. It was a 2-for-1 special deal. So I thought, why not? Anything with the Beatles, I love. I've got quite a lot of Beatles books. And there's still some pretty decent examples in there that I haven't seen before of various things. Not certain there's any information particularly. But it's not just the Beatles, of course. This is actually, there's also here Paul McCartney, Ram, etc. And other ones, lots of other examples here of later on as well. So, which is interesting. That's the Beatles ones. Now this one, I've done a review already, which I thought, cover story. I love these sort of books. Anything that's sort of art of magazine covers, especially just captures the period. All you've got here, the dance covers, lovers, I should say. And Scribners. Now, of course, this is all American magazines. They're not. Then you've got Life. Many of these, of course, I've never seen in the UK. They do turn up, but not Fortune. I saw at a local bookmart loads of old Fortunes from 1960s and things. It's fascinating looking through. But I haven't got many American sort of magazines. They don't turn up so often in the UK, but when they do, I quite often pick up one or two. And you got Companion. Some of these I've never heard of. Some of these are quite parallel. I mean, there's so many magazines, American magazines, and the same with the UK as well. There's millions of magazines that have come out and gone, and probably, 10, 15, 20 issues, and that's it. These sort of things. I've seen copies of these, Science and Mechanics. I love those ones, Wonder Stories and all those sort of old science fiction ones. So anything like this, just absolutely superb. The art of it, 1900 to 1950. Absolutely fascinating. This one, and also I've done quick reviews of that. Take That Adolf, and this one is just superb for all the covers. Loads and loads. This is just a brilliant book. If you're into like World War II sort of comic book cover, this is just beautiful to see them in this sort of size. Because quite often when you see pictures, they're very tiny. But this is, a full page. Well, I think even bigger than the original, actually, to be honest. I mean, this is quite a massive speed comics and science. They've been really, it says, breathtakingly restored, as it says there, and I think that's definitely right. I love it. Absolutely. Fantagraphic books, brilliant. Mark Furtick, I should say. Absolutely superb book. Then The Man in the High Castle. I love the TV series. Absolutely brilliant, of course, on Amazon. I'm not certain it's actually any. I've never read it, so I'm looking forward to read through this. This was given to me by my mate, and he said, "Bound to enjoy this," and I'm certainly going to look forward to it. Now an original, obviously Amazon original series. I don't think, like I say, it followed much to the series, or the other way around I should say. This one I've thoroughly enjoyed recently. I was just watching a BBC one, Chris and his pals, and this one, Goodbye to Berlin, called Sally Bowles and all those sort of things. Excellent, thoroughly enjoyable, vintage issue. So I'm just going to look forward to reread that. I haven't read it for a long time, so it's this one. Another one like the Pulp one. This is a Black Mask Stories, the Black Lizard Big Book of, and it's got what a great cover that is. The greatest crime fiction legendary magazine, and it's got full of lots and lots of examples from that. And again, you got some, actually not so many. There's a few. I was going to say, got some examples there. Obviously, the Maltese Falcon, fairly famous, I think, that one. So it's always great to read the original stories. And you've also got a nice little biography as well for each of them as well. So it's just, The Dancing Rats. What a great title. I don't think they're really dancing, and I don't think they're probably real rats. They might be, who knows. So you've got here a novelette, as it says there. And again, of course, you've got information about Richard Sale there. And of course, at the back, it's got all the same information in terms of all the various dates of the various things. So some 1929, this one 1929, 1944. So it's all over the place. 1949, 1938, 1920, and so on and so on. So you got, but of course, there must be millions. You probably could bring out 5 or 10, probably 20 volumes this size. And this is quite a big one. This is 1,116 pages, which is a lot. You could probably bring out at least 10 volumes, and you still probably wouldn't cover all of the great stories that were in these sort of magazines, Black Mask, and of course amongst many other magazines, similar sort of magazines. I've got here Wonder Boys, of course. That one's looking forward to that, reading that. Another one from my mate. And Isle of Dogs. This is very odd, this one. It's 2,500. This is sort of a very weird sounding science fiction one. The birth of his clone successor, Sargon IV, is an occasion for national celebration. The ruler of New York, master of the US Senate, etc., etc. That does sound interesting. Part 1, John Frankel. So 4 Gothic novels. Now, those ones I have read over the years. The Monk, Frankenstein, etc. So it's, but it's still a nice one again. Thank you, Gareth, for that. And Scarp. This one, this is odd. This is London. I love all books about London. I'm going to be doing a sort of like a complete sort of my collection of London books. And this is, yes, another one that joins the Forgotten London you never knew existed. Well, it's quite a bit of it I actually probably didn't know existed, but Edgware, Stanmore, places that I have lived. It's Pinner Hill, never been there. And so on, so on. So loads and loads of Newgate Street and so on. Lots of interesting information about London. And I love London. You can just read endless books about London. And there's so many things you can sort of discuss about things that you probably don't know about things. It's got a little map there as well, just to be helpful. I've never been there. Southgate, Enfield. There's parts of London I've never been to at all. But lots of London I have been to over the years. My friends, they quite often go off walking around London. So I'm certain they've probably been to Enfield and all those sort of places. I haven't. This one, things to do with a dead princess. Now, this sounds odd. This one does sound odd. Yet another of these hilarious, brilliant, annoying. So I don't know. At this point, no idea, no information at all about that. So that'd be interesting. And this one, I love Burroughs. So Burroughs and Junkie. I've never read it, but I've read quite a few other Burroughs, but not Junkie. I've never said it. Actually, I've been flicking through it thinking, you know what, this is pretty good. The definitive text to Junkie. So that's another one. And finally, got some here. Magazines. I love magazines. Unfortunately, you just don't find that many magazines in our local markets. And also, obviously, you have to go to like bookmarts and all sort of places to find magazines, or obviously eBay. But eBay, they're quite expensive. Whereas I think most of these, really, frankly, I bought this lot for £1, the whole bundle for £1, and you just think, oh, Punch, why? Why would you buy? They're actually very good. So I'll just quickly go through one now. I'm not obviously going through all of them, but Punch, and you've got lots and lots of obviously great adverts, as well as Punch Choice there. Got information there. Obviously, got lots of stories about what was happening. And this is from 1969, so you know. The War to End Dirt. So you got a lovely example there. Obviously didn't work. Three Nuns Tobacco. Well, obviously now. Judy. Disney Moon, whatever that is. Oh, of course, it's around that time, of course, the Apollo. So you've got a lovely little cartoon there, obviously, and other information. Playboy Cub. Mooney's Bar. Don't know. Cultural Time for Use. Cultural Revolution Outside of London. Again, lots of lovely bits of artwork in this, and also great little articles that sort of give you that period feel. And again, another lovely advert there. Obviously, Concord there. Got a lovely cartoon there, Concord. What's that? You're right. It's eating ants. Yeah, I'm not certain it did, but anyway. And just very informative. And also, things like here, we got like the new book sort of thing. So it's just great. Jazz on Records. You've got a little book about jazz on record. Also some cartoons of the period. Sometimes, of course, the jokes, unless you know the history of that time, you might look at it and think, I don't really know. Obviously, this one is West Germany, Switzerland, and that's another complication, I guess. And it's also about records, films, lots of great guides to the films of the period. Sometimes some of the films, there was one or two I've seen, I thought, you know what, I've never seen that film. Oh, this one. The Night of the Following Day. You obviously got a little Marlon Brando and Pamela Franklin. And At the Theatre. And also Innocence Unprotected, a Yugoslavian film. I'm certain it was very good. I've never seen it. And another advert at the back. So these magazines, just absolutely brilliant. I love this sort of thing. So that's it. Book haul for this week. Of course, saying that, I'll end up going maybe to a charity shop or a market or something in the next couple of days. And there'll be a few more. But still, lots and lots of great things to read. I'm looking forward to read some of these. I won't probably get through all of them. No, I certainly won't get through them all in this week. There's so many other books that I'm going through at the moment. My pile next door to my bed is enormous at this moment. It's really, I just keep looking at it and think, I really must go through, trim some of those down, because I start books, I got books. I'm reading like Dr. Aphra, the omnibus edition, and it's been sitting there for 6 months, and I'll get through it about 10 or so pages every day. One day I will actually finish it. By the time I finish it, I'll have completely forgotten about what actually happened right at the start. But still, actually it was all about Darth Vader. But it was still those sort of books. And the trouble is, what happens, another thing is, of course, you get so many books at the side of your bed, they start to topple over and you start thinking, one day they'll just land on top of me. Crunched. Anyway, that's one of those things. Anyway, hope you found this selection of interest. Bye.